was a Friday evening, and the house was quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of the floorboards. I had just returned from work, exhausted but ready to relax, maybe enjoy a quiet dinner, and unwind after a long week. My wife, Priya, was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for some recipe she had found online. I walked in, smiling, hoping to lighten the mood. "Hey, how was your day?" I asked. She looked up, eyes rolling just slightly. "Oh, she said, a little too casually, a little too rehearsed. Same old, same old." I didn't think much of it. Everyone has bad days. I walked over and kissed her cheek. That's when it happened, the moment that would start a quiet storm. She laughed a little too sharply and said, "Well, if you think you're going to escape this week without me nagging you, you're wrong. You're lucky I don't tell everyone what a terrible husband you are." Her words were meant as a joke, light, playful. She expected me to laugh along, maybe tease her back. But something in her tone, the smug way she said it, suggested more than a joke. A dismissal, a power play, a test. I paused, putting down my briefcase and taking a deep breath. I smiled calmly, not smugly, not angrily, calmly. I said, my voice even, soft, almost casual. "If being a terrible husband is your way of testing me, I think you might have missed the point." Her knife stopped mid-chop. Her eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" she asked cautiously. I walked closer, leaning against the counter, my posture relaxed but my words deliberate. "I mean that I've noticed the little games you play, the jokes, the digs, the way you think you can push me around and I'll just react. But I've been quiet. I've been calm. I've let you believe you have the upper hand. And now, well, now the joke is on you." She blinked, confused. "The joke is on me?" "Yes," I said. "You think you can dismiss me with a quip and get away with it. You think I'll get flustered, angry, or embarrassed. But I didn't. And by staying calm, by not reacting, I've shown you something. You don't control me. You never did." Her hands trembled slightly. The knife clattered onto the cutting board. The vegetables scattered. "Raghav, what are you talking about? You're overreacting." I shook my head slowly. "No, Priya, I'm not overreacting. I'm observing. I'm paying attention. You make these little jokes, these little comments, to see how I react, to see if I'm weak, if I'm easy to manipulate, but I'm not." She laughed nervously, trying to deflect, trying to regain control. "Oh, come on, it was just a joke. You're making it bigger than it is." I leaned closer, lowering my voice slightly, calmly, deliberately. "That's the thing about jokes, Priya. They're only funny when everyone involved is laughing. When one person uses humor to hide manipulation, it's not funny anymore. It's revealing. And right now, you just revealed yourself." Her eyes widened. The smile faltered. Her confident posture crumpled slightly. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, I saw hesitation, uncertainty. "You're being dramatic," she said. "It's nothing." I shook my head. "No, it's everything. Because it's the pattern, the jokes, the dismissals, the passive-aggressive comments, all designed to make me doubt myself, to make me question my worth, to make me feel small. But you see, Priya, I'm not small, and I don't doubt myself." She opened her mouth to respond, but I raised a finger gently, still calm. "Let me finish. Every time you tried to get under my skin, I stayed calm. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I didn't retaliate. Because I know the power of staying composed. And by staying composed, I've turned every one of your little games against you." Her lips pressed together. She tried to laugh it off. "Raghav, you're taking this way too seriously. It's just a joke. You're reading too much into it." I leaned back, smiling faintly, letting my calmness be the loudest statement in the room. "Maybe. Or maybe, Priya, you're just realizing that the person you thought was easy to push around isn't. And now, your attempt at humor has exposed your strategy instead of embarrassing me. That's what happens when you try to dismiss someone with a joke, and they respond with calm clarity instead of reaction." She looked away, fiddling with the vegetable knife, unsure of what to say. I continued, slow, measured. "I didn't shout. I didn't insult. I didn't embarrass you. I just responded with calm. And in that calm, I won. Because control, power, respect, those aren't given. They're earned. And you've just learned the hard way that I've earned mine. The room was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. She stared at me, unblinking, and I knew that moment had shifted something irreversibly. For weeks afterward, she tried to reassert control with jokes, comments, even small provocations. But each time, I responded the same way. Calm, measured, unreactive. Each time, the dynamic subtly shifted. Her attempts to manipulate me failed. Her jokes fell flat. Her dismissals were met with composure. And gradually, the power she once assumed she had vanished. She started to notice it herself. Her confidence wavered. The jokes stopped. The digs became tentative. I could see her calculating, trying to find a new way to assert herself, but she never did. It wasn't about proving her wrong. It wasn't about scoring points. It was about showing her, through quiet strength and deliberate calm, that respect isn't demanded through fear or humor. It's acknowledged through consistency and integrity. Months later, sitting together at the kitchen table, she finally said it, softly, almost a whisper. Raghav, I didn't know you would respond like that. I smiled, gently, calmly. That's the thing about calm, Priya. It's underestimated until it's too late, and by the time it's noticed, the lesson is already learned. She nodded, finally understanding. The tension, the power struggle, the dismissive behavior, all of it had been reversed. The calm response had turned a moment meant to diminish me into a turning point that strengthened both my position and the boundaries of our relationship. It taught me something fundamental. Confrontation isn't always about volume. Argument isn't always about winning verbally. Sometimes the most devastating response is patience, composure, and unwavering clarity. By the time dinner was ready, the atmosphere had shifted entirely. There were no jokes aimed to wound, no dismissive comments, no veiled power plays, just two people learning the subtle art of respect and equilibrium. And it all started with a single moment, a single calm reply to a dismissive joke, which turned that attempt at control into a lesson she would never forget. Because sometimes, the best revenge, or the best victory, is simply remaining unshaken, unflustered, and calmly in control. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to humiliate. It just needs to work. And that evening, as I poured the wine and served the meal, I realized it had worked beautifully. She had tried to dismiss me with humor. I responded with calm, and the balance of power quietly, irrevocably shifted. I didn't gloat. I didn't boast. I simply smiled, poured a glass, and watched the lesson sink in. Sometimes silence and calm are louder than any argument. And that night, for the first time in months, I felt entirely in control of my own life, my own boundaries, and my own peace.